The underhive of Hive Tertius stank like a corpse left to rot in a chemical swamp. Even through the filters of my power armor, the acrid stench clawed at my enhanced senses, a mix of burnt oil, rust, and something sour that lingered like a bad memory. I'm Arcturus Kane, captain of the Crimson Fist's 4th Company, and I was leading my battle brothers through this corroded labyrinth. My transhuman mind was on overdrive, cataloging every threat. Methane pockets hissing in the shadows, radiation spikes pulsing like a dying star, and chemical spills bubbling with a malice that could chew through ceramite. 3 centuries of war flashed through my head. Orc bloodbaths on Bad Landing, where green blood painted the dunes, tyrannid swarms on Valador, their chittering screams still echoing in my skull. Each campaign was a scar on my psyche, as real as the dents in my armor. My boots thudded on rusted decking, each step kicking up flakes of corrosion that danced in the dim light. My bolt pistol was an extension of my will, gleaming in my right hand, its weight familiar, like an old friend. My left power fist crackled, its energy field humming with barely restrained violence, servos whining as if eager to crush something. My squad moved like a single organism. Brother Lorius's tactical squad fanned out on our left, bolters raised, their eyes scanning the dark through helmet visors. Brother Cassian's devastators anchored the rear, their heavy weapons sweeping the shadows, missile launchers and Lascannons hungry for a target. We were a wedge of ceramite and fury, cutting through the underhive's gloom. I felt the weight of command, not just in my armor, but in my bones. These were my brothers, forged in the Emperor's fire, and I'd die before I let them falter. The underhive was a maze of collapsed gantries and leaking pipes, built by generations too desperate to care about safety. Every corner hid a potential ambush, every shadow a threat. My enhanced senses caught the faint hum of machinery far below, the drip of toxic sludge, the distant clatter of something moving. I didn't like it. I'd fought on 100 worlds, faced Xenos and heretics in every form, but this place felt alive, like it was watching us. My heart's beat steady, but there was a prickle at the back of my mind, a whisper of unease I couldn't shake. Maybe it was the way the air seemed to cling, or the way the shadows didn't quite match the light. I tightened my grip on my pistol, feeling the cold metal through my gauntlet. Whatever was down here, we'd face it. We were Crimson Fists, and we didn't break. The underhive's oppressive weight pressed down on me, not just physically, but in my gut, like a warning I couldn't quite name. I'm Arcturus Kane, and I was deep in Hive Tertius's rotting bowels, leading my Crimson Fists through a maze of corroded metal and flickering shadows. My auspex pinged suddenly, a sharp blip that snapped me out of my thoughts. The screen glowed with erratic signals, contacts flickering in and out like ghosts. This place was a death trap. Centuries of shoddy construction had turned it into a warren of collapsed walkways, hidden ducts, and crumbling bulkheads. My enhanced hearing picked up a faint skitter, like claws scraping metal, followed by ragged, uneven breaths echoing from somewhere above. My heart's kicked up a notch, not fear, but that old familiar thrill, the one that says something's about to go very wrong. I raised a clenched fist, and my squad froze mid-step, their Astartes discipline absolute. Brother Lorius on my left, his bolter steady, scanned the darkness through his visor. Brother Cassian's devastators in the rear shifted, their heavy weapons humming softly, ready to unleash hell. I voxed quick orders, my voice low but sharp. Varn, crossfire on the right. Quintus, ready the flamer. Quintus's Prometheum tank caught the faint light, glinting like a promise of fire. My power fist crackled, its energy field itching to smash something, while my bolt pistol felt heavy, eager. I scanned the auspex again. Dozens of signals now, converging through vents and crawl spaces, moving too fast, too coordinated. Gen stealers. Had to be. I'd faced their kind before, on Valador, their claws tearing through ceramite-like paper. But this felt different, personal, like they knew we were coming. Then it hit me, a memory, unbidden, of Brother Tyrius on Bad Landing. He'd been my mentor, a grizzled veteran who taught me to trust my instincts. He died screaming, betrayed by a PDF commander who'd turned traitor, leading us into an orc ambush. That betrayal stung worse than the wounds, a knife in the soul that never quite healed. Now, in this underhive, that same prickle of distrust crawled up my spine. Were we being watched? Lured? I shook it off, focusing on the moment. My brothers relied on me, and I wouldn't let doubt cloud my judgment. But as the skittering grew louder, closer, I couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, had sold us out. The auspex screamed, signals flooding in from every direction. I tightened my grip, ready for the storm. I was neck-deep in Hive Tertius's underhive, the air thick with the stench of rust and chemicals, when all hell broke loose. I'm Arcturus Kane, captain of the Crimson Fist's 4th Company, and I just raised my fist to halt my squad when a hybrid exploded from a ventilation shaft above us. Its skull was too long, its purple-mottled flesh a sick parody of a human, claws gleaming in the dim light. My bolt pistol was up before I even thought about it, barking a single, mass-reactive round that turned its head into a wet cloud of ichor. The shot was like a flare in the dark, and the underhive answered with chaos. Panels along the corridor burst outward, showering us with sparks and debris as Genestealer hybrids swarmed like roaches, some still wearing tattered miner's gear, others warped into clawed, hissing monstrosities. My transhuman mind kicked into overdrive, processing the madness in microseconds. I voxed, targeting priorities, my voice cutting through the din. Lorius, left flank, prioritize ranged. Cassian, cover the rear. My power fist smashed through a hybrid's chest, bone and sinew vaporizing in a crimson mist, the impact sending a jolt of satisfaction through me. Brother Quintus's flamer roared to life, a torrent of promethium engulfing a knot of cultists, their screams sharp and fleeting as they burned. Brother Titus took a mining laser to the shoulder, his ceramite sizzling, black smoke curling up. But he kept firing his bolter one-handed, his face a mask of grim defiance. That's what it means to be Astartes. Pain is just noise. Duty is everything. But in the chaos, that old sting of betrayal gnawed at me. On Bad Landing, Brother Tyrius died because a traitor fed us to the orcs. Now, the hybrid's attack felt too precise, like they'd known our route. Had someone in the Hive's command sold us out? The thought burned, hotter than the last burns on Titus's armor. I shoved it down, focusing on the fight. My squad was a machine of war, bolters thundering, heavy weapons shaking the decking. I felt alive, every nerve singing with purpose, but that nagging doubt lingered. Someone had led us into this meat grinder, and I'd tear the truth out of them if we survived. I was neck-deep in Hive Tertius's underhive, the air thick with the stench of rust and chemicals, when all hell broke loose. I'm Arcturus Kane, captain of the Crimson Fist's 4th Company, and I'd just raised my fist to halt my squad when a hybrid exploded from a ventilation shaft above us. Its skull was too long, its purple-mottled flesh a sick parody of a human, claws gleaming in the dim light. My bolt pistol was up before I even thought about it, barking a single, mass-reactive round that turned its head into a wet cloud of ichor. The shot was like a flare in the dark, and the underhive answered with chaos. Panels along the corridor burst outward, showering us with sparks and debris as Genestealer hybrids swarmed like roaches, some still wearing tattered miner's gear, others warped into clawed, hissing monstrosities. My transhuman mind kicked into overdrive, processing the madness in microseconds. I voxed, targeting priorities, my voice cutting through the din. Lorius, left flank, prioritize ranged. Cassian, cover the rear. My power fist smashed through a hybrid's chest, bone and sinew vaporizing in a crimson mist, the impact sending a jolt of satisfaction through me. Brother Quintus's flamer roared to life, a torrent of promethium engulfing a knot of cultists, their screams sharp and fleeting as they burned. Brother Titus took a mining laser to the shoulder, his ceramite sizzling, black smoke curling up. But he kept firing his bolter one-handed, his face a mask of grim defiance. That's what it means to be Astartes. Pain is just noise. Duty is everything. But in the chaos, that old sting of betrayal gnawed at me. On Bad Landing, Brother Tyrius died because a traitor fed us to the orcs. Now the hybrid's attack felt too precise, like they'd known our route. Had someone in the Hive's command sold us out? The thought burned, hotter than the last burns on Titus's armor. I shoved it down, focusing on the fight. My squad was a machine of war, bolters thundering, heavy weapons shaking the decking. I felt alive, every nerve singing with purpose, but that nagging doubt lingered. Someone had led us into this meat grinder, and I'd tear the truth out of them if we survived. I came back in fragments, like a shattered mirror piecing itself together. I'm Arcturus Kane, or I was anyway. Consciousness hit me like a bolt round, jagged and disorienting, and I found myself entombed in a dreadnought sarcophagus. No more captain of the Crimson Fist's Fourth Company, just ancient Kane now, a half-dead relic wired into a war machine. Amniotic fluid cocooned what was left of my body, a warm, suffocating embrace that kept my ruined flesh alive. Neural interfaces stabbed into me, each one a white-hot spike of pain, linking my mind to the machine spirit. It was alien, overwhelming, hydraulic pressure, weapon diagnostics, targeting arrays flooding my senses like a tidal wave. I tried to move, to feel my arms, but instead I sensed massive adamantium limbs, heavy and unyielding. My transhuman memory clashed with this new reality, screaming that I was still me, still human, even as the machine spirit slithered into my thoughts like a predator. The betrayal hit harder than the pain, not just the lasers that tore me apart in the underhive, but the deeper cut. Someone had sold us out. The hybrid's ambush was too precise, too coordinated, and the thought that a human, maybe even someone we trusted, had fed us to those Xenos gnawed at me. I'd seen it before, on Bad Landing, when Tyrius died because of a traitor's lies. That wound never healed, and now it festered again, mixing with the horror of my new existence. I wasn't just fighting enemies anymore. I was fighting to hold on to who I was. Brother Tyrius's rage, Ancient Morvis's stoic resolve from Rin's world, they bled into my mind, their memories tangling with mine, threatening to drown Arcturus Kane. Techmarine Valthor's mechadendrites clicked in word as he adjusted my systems, his face hidden behind his helmet. Chaplain Zephyrus's voice rumbled through the awakening rites, a lifeline to my fracturing mind, reminding me of duty, of the Emperor. 3 months had passed, they told me. The cult was purged, and Lorius now led the fourth. I wanted to scream, to demand who'd betrayed us, but my vox was a mechanical growl, not my own. The first time I tried to move, my massive leg lurched, nearly toppling me into a wall. Valthor's protocols forced me to learn, to channel my will through the machine. It was humbling, humiliating, and it hurt worse than the lasers. A A captain reduced to a stumbling giant, betrayed by my own body, and maybe by those I served. I'm Ancient Cain now, no longer the captain I was, just a wreck of flesh and will, trapped in a dreadnought's hulking shell. The first time I tried to walk in this thing, it was a disaster. My mind screamed to move my legs, but instead, a massive adamantium limb lurched forward, slamming into the deck of the fortress monastery with a clang that echoed like a gunshot. I nearly toppled, my chassis swaying dangerously, and I felt a stab of humiliation sharper than any blade. Me, Arcturus Cain, who'd led charges against orc warbands and tyrannid swarms, reduced to a toddler in a war machine. Tech Marine Valthor was there, his mechadendrites buzzing as he uploaded corrective protocols, his voice a calm drone about interfacing with the machine spirit. I wanted to roar at him, to demand my body back, but all that came out was a mechanical growl, cold and alien. The betrayal from the Underhive still burned in what was left of my soul. Those Genestealer hybrids hadn't just ambushed us, they'd known exactly where we'd be. Someone had sold us out, maybe a Hive official, maybe someone closer. The thought twisted like a knife, reminding me of Bad Landing, where Tyrius's blood was on a traitor's hands. That old wound festered, mixing with the disorientation of my new existence. My mind was a battlefield, not just from the neural spikes jabbing into my skull, but from the ghosts of other dreadnoughts, Tyrius's rage, Morvis's iron resolve from Rin's world bleeding into my thoughts. They weren't just memories. They were pieces of me now, threatening to erase Arcturus Cain. Every time I closed my eyes, or whatever passed for eyes now, I drowned in their echoes, my identity fraying like old cloth. Valthor kept at it, tweaking my systems, teaching me to channel intent through the machine spirit. It was like wrestling a beast, every step a fight to stay in control. Chaplain Zephyrus stood by, his Crozius Arcanum glinting as he chanted litanies, anchoring me to duty when I wanted to scream. I learned to move, slowly, each step a small victory, but the cost was steep. I wasn't a leader anymore, just a weapon, and the weight of that truth crushed me. Worse, I couldn't shake the feeling that the traitor who'd set us up was still out there, laughing. I swore in the silence of my sarcophagus that I'd find them, even if it meant dragging this metal tomb through every hive to do it. I'm Ancient Cain, a walking tomb of adamantium and rage, no longer the captain I used to be. Barely a month after I'd learned to stumble around in my dreadnought chassis, the call came to return to Hive Tertius's Underhive. The Genestealer cult was back, like a weed you can't kill, sprouting in the shadows of that rotting maze. My brothers needed me, or at least the war machine I'd become. The fortress monastery's launch bay hummed as I was loaded onto a Thunderhawk, my massive frame locked into place with magnetic clamps. The vibrations rattled my amniotic tank, and I felt the machine spirit stir, eager for blood. I wasn't sure if it was my eagerness or the dreadnoughts. My mind was a mess, tangled with fragments of Tyrius's fury and Morvis's grim resolve from Rin's world. They weren't just memories anymore. They were part of me, clawing at who I was. The Underhive was worse than I remembered. The air was thicker, the chemical stink sharper, like the hive itself was rotting faster. My squad deployed in a wedge, Brother Laureus leading now, his commands crisp over the Vox. I lumbered behind, my multi-melt humming, its heat a faint tickle against my sensors. Then it happened. A wall exploded inward, and hybrids swarmed out, claws glinting, their twisted faces screaming hate. My multi-melta roared, vaporizing a cluster of them in a blinding flash, their bodies reduced to ash before they could blink. I swung my power fist, pulping a pure strain Genestealer, its ichor splattering my chassis like hot oil. The fight was chaos, but I felt alive, or as close to it as I could get. Every kill was a defiance of the betrayal that had put me in this sarcophagus. That betrayal still burned. Someone had tipped off the cult, just like before. The hybrids hit us too fast, too precise, like they'd been waiting. I scanned the Vox logs in my downtime, searching for clues, but found nothing, just static and the ghosts of my own suspicions. Was it a hive governor? A rogue PDF officer? The thought of a human betraying us to Xenos made my blood boil. Or it would have, if I still had enough blood to boil. Each step I took, each hybrid I crushed, was a promise to find the traitor. My brothers fought around me, their bolters a steady thunder, but I was alone in my metal shell, haunted by the past and the machine spirit's hunger, wondering if I'd ever be more than a weapon again. I'm Ancient Cain, or what's left of me, stomping through Hive Tertius's underhive in a dreadnought's unyielding shell. The cult was back, and we were knee-deep in their filth, hybrids swarming from every crack in the corroded walls. My multi-melta blazed, turning Xenos into vapor, with flashes that lit up the gloom like a star-going nova. My power fist was a blur, smashing a pure-strain Genestealer into a pulp of ichor and bone, its claws scraping uselessly against my adamantium hide. But something was off. Mid-fight, my mind blanked, like a Vox signal cutting out. 1 second I was targeting a hybrid with a mining laser. The next, it was ash, and my fist was dripping with gore I didn't remember spilling. The machine spirit had taken over, moving my chassis without me, leaving gaps in my memory like bullet holes. Those fugue states scared me, and I don't scare easy. I'd fought for centuries, faced orcs and tyrannids, but this was different, losing myself to the machine. It was like the dreadnought had its own will, a predator's instinct that didn't care about Arcturus Cain. Tyrius's rage from Bad Landing and Morvis's cold resolve from Rindsworld swirled in my head, their memories bleeding into mine, making it hard to know where I ended and they began. Worse, the betrayal that got me here still gnawed at me. The hybrid's ambush was too perfect, just like the one that shredded my body. Someone had sold us out again, and the thought of a traitor, maybe someone in the Hive's command, maybe closer, made my non-existent blood burn. I wanted to tear the truth out of someone, but I was just a weapon now, not a detective. We pushed deeper, the underhive's tunnels narrowing, the air thick with chemical haze. A sudden explosion rocked the deck, a hybrid with a makeshift bomb, its blast sending shrapnel pinging off my chassis. Lorius voxed for a tighter formation, his voice steady, but I could feel his eyes on me, wondering if I was still reliable. That hurt worse than the shrapnel. I was their captain once, their rock, and now I was a lumbering question mark. My multi-melta fired again, instinct or machine spirit I couldn't tell, and another pack of hybrids vanished in a white-hot flash. All I could do was keep moving, keep killing, and hope I could hold on to enough of myself to find the traitor who doomed us, even if it meant wading through this hell forever. I'm Ancient Cain, a hulking relic of war, stomping through the underhive of Hive Tertius with my Crimson Fists brothers. The Genestealer cult was a cancer, and we'd carved our way to its heart, a blasphemous chamber deep in the Hive's bowels, all twisted metal and Xenos glyphs, pulsing with unnatural light. My multi-melta was hot from overuse, its barrel glowing as I vaporized a knot of hybrids guarding the entrance. Their screams were cut short, but the sound lingered in my head, mixing with the ghosts of Tyrius and Morvis, their memories clawing at my sanity. I was losing myself, the machine spirit taking over more often, leaving me with blank spots where I'd crushed Xenos without knowing it. It was terrifying, like I was a passenger in my own body, but I had a job to do, and and I'd be damned if I let my brothers down. The chamber opened up, and there it was. The Genestealer Patriarch, a grotesque mountain of claws and muscle, its psychic presence like a hammer to my mind. My sensors screamed warnings as it lunged, faster than anything that big should be. I swung my power fist, but it dodged, its claws raking my chassis, sparking off adamantium. Pain flared through my neural links, sharp and disorienting, but I kept moving. Lorius and the others opened fire, bolters and lascannons tearing into the beast, but it was me who landed the killing blow. My fist connected, crushing its skull in a spray of ichor, and its psychic death scream hit like a shockwave, dropping hybrids across the chamber. For a moment I felt triumphant, like the captain I used to be. But then, the machine spirit surged, and I blacked out, coming to with my melta smoking and a dozen more hybrids reduced to ash. That victory was hollow. The cult was broken, but the betrayal that led us here still festered. Someone had known our moves, fed the cult our plans, just like on Bad Landing when Tyrius died. The thought of a traitor, maybe a hive official, maybe someone we'd trusted, burned worse than my wounds. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my vox was just a mechanical drone. Lorius voxed the all clear, his voice steady, but I caught the way he glanced at me, like I was a tool, not a brother. That hurt. A fresh betrayal. Not from enemies, but from my own. I was a weapon now, not a leader, and the weight of that truth settled like rust in my soul. Heavier than the adamantium encasing me. Back at the fortress monastery, I'm Ancient Cain, a living relic. No longer the man who led the Crimson Fist's Fourth Company. The Tech Marines peeled back my dreadnought's battered armor, exposing the amniotic tank where my broken body floated. A pitiful scrap of flesh wired to a machine. The sight, reflected in a polished bulkhead, hit me like a gut punch. Tubes and cables, snaking into what was left of me. My humanity reduced to a shriveled husk. I wanted to look away, but I had no eyes to close. The Underhive mission was done. The Genestealer Patriarch was dead, its cult shattered. But the victory felt empty, overshadowed by the traitor who'd set us up. Someone had fed those Xenos our plans, just like on Bad Landing, when Tyrius fell to a traitor's lies. That betrayal was a wound that wouldn't heal, a poison seeping into my thoughts, worse than the neural spikes jabbing my skull. The Tech Marines prepped me for stasis, the long dream they called it, where I'd be locked in eternal awareness, my mind trapped with the ghosts of Tyrius's rage and Morvis's resolve. Those memories weren't just echoes anymore. They were part of me, eroding Arcturus Cain until I wasn't sure who I was. A sudden tremor shook the monastery, a minor quake, they said, but it rattled my chassis, and for a moment I thought I was back in the Underhive, my multi-melta blazing. The machine spirit stirred, hungry, and I fought to keep it down, my will straining against its pull. Chaplain Zephyrus stood by, his voice a low rumble as he recited litanies, but even his words couldn't soothe the dread creeping in. Stasis meant losing time, losing myself, and I wasn't ready to let go. As they sealed my sarcophagus, I caught a Vox transmission, fragmented, but clear enough to freeze my thoughts. A Hive official's name, linked to cultist activity. Someone we'd trusted, the traitor. I wanted to roar, to demand we hunt them down, but the stasis field kicked in and time stopped. My last thought was a cold truth. I was a weapon, bound to the Emperor's will, serving without end. The betrayal, the Underhive, my brothers. They faded into the long dream, where I'd fight forever. Not just Xenos, but the horror of what I'd become. All right, I'm Tyrus Vex, a battle brother of the Crimson Fist's Fifth Company, trudging through the underhive of Hive Secundus. This place is a rotting pit, stinking of burnt wiring and chemical sludge so thick it sticks to your armor like a curse. My power armor's filters are choking on the fumes, but the sour reek still seeps through, gnawing at my enhanced senses. I'm no captain, just a grunt with a bolter and a short fuse, following Sergeant Corvus through this labyrinth of corroded pipes and flickering lumens. The air's heavy, like breathing through wet cloth, and every step feels like wading through a graveyard. My squad's tight. Brother Rylan with his plasma pistol, its glow cutting the gloom. Brother Draken hauling a missile launcher, ready to crack open anything dumb enough to show its face. We're hunting a Genestealer cult that's taken root down here, and the Vox is buzzing with talk of traps. My gut's telling me this is gonna get bloody, but that's the job. Blood's what we do. The Underhive's a death trap, all twisted gantries and leaking ducts, built by folks too desperate to care about tomorrow. Every shadow's got teeth. Every corner's a potential grave. My Astartes senses are dialed up, catching the hum of dying machinery, the drip of acid eating through metal, the faint scratch of claws somewhere close. I've fought before, orc hordes on Kravos, where I painted the rocks with their blood. Tyranid swarms on Nexara, their shrieks still clawing at my dreams. But this place feels alive, like it's sizing us up. Corvus signals a halt, his gauntlet raised, and we freeze, bolters ready. My auspex pings, contacts, faint but fast, darting through the dark. My heart's thump, not fear, but that old thrill, the kind that says a fight's coming. I grip my bolter, its weight like an anchor. Whatever's out there, we'll meet it with fire and steel. We're deep in the Hive's bowels now, and it's like walking through a machine's rotting corpse. The walls are crusted with rust and filth, every step kicking up flakes that drift like dead skin. Corvus leads, his chainsword humming, itching to cut loose. My bolter steady in my hands, a familiar friend as we weave through this maze. The auspex is screaming now, blips swarming like vermin. I hear it, a skitter, too close like nails on steel. And before I can vox, a Genestealer hybrid erupts from a grate, its twisted face all claws and hate. I fire, mass reactive rounds blowing its chest to pulp, but more come, spilling from vents like a flood. Ryland's plasma pistol flashes, melting a hybrid to slag, while Draken's missile launcher booms, turning a pack to ash. I'm in the thick, smashing a hybrid skull with my fist, the crunch echoing through my gauntlet. Corvus barks orders, keeping us sharp. But something's off. These Xenos hit too precise, like they knew our route. I've got a bad feeling like back on Kravos when a traitor PDF officer fed us to the orcs, costing us Brother Kalen. That wound's still raw, and now it's itching again. Are we being set up? No time to think. Another hybrid charges, and I blast its head off, Icor spraying my visor. I'm Tyrus Vex, knee-deep in the underhive of Hive Secundus, and it's a damn slaughterhouse. The air's thick with the stench of burnt flesh and ozone, the kind that sticks in your throat even through power armor. My squad's fighting like hell, surrounded by Genestealer hybrids crawling out of every crack and vent. These things are nightmares. Some still half-human, wearing tattered worker rags, others all claws and teeth, hissing like they're possessed. My bolter's roaring, each shot blowing chunks out of the Xenos. Icor splashing across my armor like hot oil. Sergeant Corvus is a machine, his chainsword tearing through hybrids, leaving a trail of gore. Brother Ryland's plasma pistol hums, vaporizing a hybrid's head into blue mist, while Brother Dracon's missile launcher booms, turning a knot of them into a crater. I'm holding the right flank, smashing a hybrid's face with my gauntlet. feeling the bone crumple under ceramite. But something's gnawing at me, worse than the claws scraping my armor. These hybrids are hitting too smart, like they've got our battle plan. Every move we make, they're ready, countering like they knew we'd be here. It's Kravos all over again, where a traitor PDF officer sold us out to the orcs, leaving Brother Kalen's body broken in the dust. That betrayal's a scar that never healed, and now it's bleeding fresh. I vox Corvus, my voice sharp. Sarge, they're too coordinated. Someone's feeding them. He grunts, too busy carving a hybrid in half to answer, but I know he feels it too. A hybrid with a stolen last gutter lunges, and I blast it point blank, its body bursting like a rotten fruit. The fight's chaos, but that nagging thought won't quit. Someone's playing us, and I'm itching to find out who. My hearts are pounding, not just from the fight, but from the fury of being betrayed again. We're Crimson Fists, damn it. And we don't break, but this feels like a trap snapped shut. The Underhive's a maze of collapsing walkways and dripping pipes, every corner a kill zone. My Auspex is screaming, contacts flooding in from all sides, vents, ducts, even the damn ceiling. I catch a flicker of movement above and my bolter's up, ripping through a hybrid before it can drop. Ryland takes a claw to the shoulder, his armor sparking, but he keeps firing, cursing through gritted teeth. Drekken's missile launcher reloads with a heavy clunk, and another explosion rocks the corridor, sending Xeno's limbs flying. Corvus voxes orders, his voice a low growl. Tyrus, hold the right. Ryland, burn the left. I nod, my bolter steady, but my mind's racing. Whoever set us up knew our formation, our route. Was it a Hive official? Someone higher? The thought burns hotter than the last burns on my pauldron. I crush another hybrid, my fist dripping with its blood, and swear I'll find the bastard who sold us out, even if I have to tear this hive apart. I'm Tyrus Vex, and Hive Secundus's underhive is a meat grinder. The air's choked with the reek of charred Xenos and burning promethium, the kind of stink that clings like a bad dream. My squad's in the thick of it, Genestealer hybrids swarming from every vent and shadow, their claws glinting like knives in the dim light. My bolter's a steady thunder, each round blasting hybrids into wet chunks, their ichor painting my armor. Sergeant Corvus is a storm, his chainsword shredding a hybrid's torso, gore spraying across his helm. Brother Ryland's plasma pistol hums, melting a Xenos into slag, though his shoulder's leaking from that claw wound. Brother Draken's missile launcher booms, turning a pack of hybrids into a smoking crater, but he's cursing as shrapnel pings off his armor. I'm holding the right, smashing a hybrid's skull with my fist, the crack of bone a grim satisfaction through my gauntlet. But that betrayal's eating me alive, sharper than the claws tearing at us. These hybrids are too damn smart, hitting our flanks like they've got our vox logs. It's Kravos all over again, where a traitor PDF officer sold us out, leaving Brother Kalen's body broken in the dirt. That scar's burning now, and I'm sure someone's feeding these Xenos our moves. I vox Corvus again, shouting over the din, Sarge, this ain't random, they knew we'd be here. He growls back, focus, Tyrus. Kill now, think later. But I can't shake it. A hybrid with a mining laser fires, the beam searing my pauldron, ceramite bubbling. I return fire, blowing its head off. But the thought of a traitor, maybe a hive official, maybe closer, burns hotter than the last burn. I crush another Xenos, my fist dripping, and swear I'll rip the truth out of someone when this is over. The Underhive's a collapsing hellscape, walkways groaning under our weight, pipes spewing toxic sludge. My Auspex is a mess, signals flooding in from every direction, above, below, behind. I catch a skitter overhead and fire, dropping a hybrid before it can leap. Ryland's limping now, his plasma pistol still spitting death, while Draken reloads, his missile launcher shaking the deck. Corvus Voxes push forward, tight formation. But the hybrids keep coming, too coordinated, like they're reading our playbook. I'm starting to wonder if the traitor's closer than we think. Someone who knows our tactics, our signals. The memory of Callan's death, betrayed by a supposed ally, twists like a knife. I slam a hybrid into a wall, its spine snapping, and keep moving, my bolter roaring. Every kill's a step toward answers, but the underhive's closing in, and I'm not sure we'll make it out to find them. I'm Tyrus Vex, and the underhive of Hive Secundus is a bloody nightmare. The air's thick with the stench of roasted xenos and melted metal. My power armor's filters barely keeping up. We're swarmed by Genestealer hybrids, their twisted faces and claws coming at us from every angle. Vents, walls, even the damn floor. My bolter's a constant roar, each shot turning hybrids into gory mist, ichor coating my visor like a sick rain. Sergeant Corvus is a whirlwind, his chainsword carving through xenos, spraying blood across the rusted decking. Brother Ryland's plasma pistol flashes, burning a hybrid to ash, but he's slowing, his wounded shoulder leaking dark blood through cracked ceramite. Brother Draken's missile launcher thunders, blasting a knot of hybrids into a smoking ruin, though he's swearing as his ammo runs low. I'm holding the right flank, smashing a hybrid's chest with my fist, its ribs crumpling like cheap steel, the jolt feeding my rage. That betrayal's still clawing at my mind, worse than the hybrid's talons. These things are hitting us too perfect, like they've got our battle plans tattooed on their hides. It's Kravos all over again. Brother Kalen's death, sold out by a traitor PDF officer, burns in my memory like a brand. I vox Corvus, my voice cutting through the chaos. Sarge, they're playing us. Someone's leaking our moves. He snaps back. Tyrus, kill now, question later. But I know he's feeling it too. A hybrid with a last cutter swings at me, the beam grazing my chest plate, ceramite sizzling. I blast it apart, its body bursting. But the thought of a traitor, maybe a hive noble, maybe someone in our chain, burns hotter than the wound. I crush another hybrid, my gauntlets slick with gore, swearing I'll find the bastard who set us up. The underhive's a death trap, tunnels collapsing, pipes spewing acid that hisses on contact. My auspex is screaming, contacts swarming from every direction, too many, too fast. I catch movement in a vent and fire, shredding a hybrid before it can drop. Ryland's staggering, his plasma pistol still spitting death, but he's fading. Draken's out of missiles, switching to his bolter, cursing loud enough to echo. Corvus Voxes, hold the line, advance. But the hybrids keep coming, their attacks too damn precise. I'm starting to think the traitor's not just some hive rat. Could it be one of ours? The idea's a gut punch, but Kravos taught me trust is a luxury. I slam a hybrid into a bulkhead, its skull popping, and keep pushing, bolter blazing. Every step's a fight, every kill a promise to hunt the traitor. But the underhive's tightening its grip, and I'm not sure how much longer we can hold. I'm Tyrus Vex, and Hive Secundus's underhive is a furnace of chaos and blood. The air's a toxic soup of charred xenos and burning promethium, so thick it's like wading through a chemical fog. My squad's fighting tooth and nail, Genestealer hybrids pouring from every crack in this rotting maze. My bolter's a storm, each shot ripping hybrids apart, their ichor splattering my armor like a butcher's apron. Sergeant Corvus is a blur, his chainsword hacking through xenos, leaving trails of gore across the corroded deck. Brother Ryland's plasma pistol flares, turning a hybrid to molten slag, but he's barely standing, blood pooling from his mangled shoulder. Brother Draken's out of missiles, his bolter now spitting death, but he's taking hits. Ceramite cracked from claw strikes. I'm anchoring the right, my fist smashing a hybrid's face into pulp, the crunch of grim music in my ears. That betrayal's a knife in my gut, sharper than any Xeno's claw. These hybrids are too damn coordinated, hitting us like they've got our Vox codes. It's Kravos all over again. Brother Kalen's broken body, betrayed by a PDF traitor, haunts me like a ghost. I Vox Corvus, shouting through the roar, "Sarge, this is a setup. They know our every move." He growls, "Tyrus, focus." We fight through. But I can tell he's uneasy too. A hybrid's mining laser lances my thigh, ceramite splintering, pain searing through my Astartes nerves. I fire back, blowing its torso to chunks. But the thought of a traitor, maybe a hive official, maybe closer, burns hotter than the wound. I crush another Xenos, my gauntlet dripping, swearing I'll tear the truth out of someone. The underhive's a collapsing hell, tunnels narrowing, walls weeping acid. My auspex is a mess, contacts swarming from all sides, vents, floors, ceilings. I catch a shadow above and fire, dropping a hybrid in a spray of ichor. Ryland's fading, his plasma pistol flickering, while Dracon's bolter jams, forcing him to use his knife, gutting a hybrid with a snarl. Corvus voxes, push forward, no retreat. But the hybrid's precision is uncanny, like they're reading our minds. I'm starting to suspect the traitor's not just some hive scum. Could it be one of us? The thought's poison. But Kravos taught me betrayal comes from anywhere. I slam a hybrid into a pipe, its spine snapping, and keep moving, bolter thundering. Every kill's a vow to find the traitor, but the underhive's a vice, and I'm not sure we'll make it out alive to settle the score. I'm Tyrus Vex, and the underhive of Hive Secundus is a living hell, a cauldron of blood and fire. The air's thick with the stench of burnt Xenos and sizzling ceramite, my power armor's filters choking on the chemical haze. Genestealer hybrids swarm like roaches, claws flashing in the flickering lumens. Some still human enough to wear tattered rags, others warped into hissing monstrosities. My bolter's a relentless hammer, each shot blasting hybrids into gore, their ichor coating my armor like a second skin. Sergeant Corvus is a force of nature, his chainsword ripping through Xenos, spraying blood across rusted walls. Brother Ryland's barely holding on, his plasma pistol spitting erratic bursts, his wounded shoulder gushing dark blood. Brother Draken's bolter is back online, chewing through hybrids, but his armor's cracked, claw marks scoring deep. I'm on the right, smashing a hybrid skull with my fist, the wet crunch, a fleeting thrill amidst the chaos. That betrayal's a fire in my chest, burning hotter than the lasburns on my armor. These hybrids are too precise, hitting our weak points like they've studied us. It's Kravos all over again. Brother Kalen's death, sold out by a traitor, cuts like a fresh wound. I Vox Corvus, voice raw over the din. "Sarge, they're playing us like a damn script." He snaps, "Tyrus, kill first, talk later." But his tone's tight, like he knows something's wrong. A hybrid's last gutter sears my chest, ceramite bubbling, pain spiking through my Astartes frame. I blow its head off, ichor splashing, but the thought of a traitor, maybe a hive governor, maybe one of ours, gnaws harder than the wound. I crush another Xenos, my gauntlet slick, swearing I'll find whoever's behind this. The underhive's a death trap, tunnels collapsing, pipes spewing toxic mist. My auspex is screaming, contacts flooding in, too many, too fast. I spot movement in a duct and fire, shredding a hybrid before it can leap. Ryland's fading fast, his plasma pistol dimming, while Dracon's bolter jams again, forcing him to swing it like a club, smashing a hybrid's jaw. Corvus voxes, forward, no mercy. But the hybrid's attacks are surgical, like they know our every step. I'm starting to think the traitor's closer than we want to admit. Someone who knows our signals, our tactics. Kravos taught me trust is a fool's game, and that lesson's screaming now. I slam a hybrid into a bulkhead, its bones snapping, and push on, bolter roaring. Every kill's a step toward the truth, but the underhive's a grave, and I'm not sure we'll crawl out to hunt the traitor down. I'm Tyrus Vex, and Hive Secundus's underhive is a slaughterhouse, the air heavy with the reek of scorched xenos and burning metal. My squad's fighting for our lives. Genestealer hybrids swarming from every vent and crevice, their claws gleaming like death in the dim light. My bolter's a constant roar, blowing hybrids apart, their ichor soaking my armor like a grim baptism. Sergeant Corvus is a storm, his chainsword hacking through xenos, gore painting his ceramite red. Brother Ryland's on his last legs, his plasma pistol flickering, blood streaming from his torn shoulder. Brother Draken's bolter is holding, but his armor's a mess. Claw marks and last burns scarring the surface. I'm on the right flank, my fist crushing a hybrid's chest, ribs snapping like dry twigs, the impact feeding my fury. That betrayal's a poison in my veins, worse than the acid dripping from the pipes above. These hybrids are hitting us too clean, like they've got our battle plans pinned to their twisted hides. It's Kravos all over again. Brother Callan's death, betrayed by a PDF traitor, burns like a fresh wound. I vox Corvus, shouting through the chaos. Sarge, this is a damn setup. They're reading us. He barks, Tyrus, focus on the fight. But his voice has an edge, like he's starting to see it too. A hybrid's mining laser catches my arm, ceramite cracking, pain flaring hot and sharp. I fire back, turning its head to mist, but the thought of a traitor, maybe a hive official, maybe someone closer, burns fiercer than the wound. I slam another hybrid into a wall, its skull splitting, and swear I'll find the bastard who sold us out. The underhive's a collapsing nightmare, tunnels tightening, walls oozing toxic sludge. My auspex is a mess, signals flooding from all sides, above, below, everywhere. I catch a flicker in a vent and fire, dropping a hybrid in a spray of gore. Ryland's barely standing, his plasma pistol sputtering, while Draken's bolter jams again, forcing him to use his knife, gutting a Xenos with a growl. Corvus voxes, push through, no stopping. But the hybrid's precision is unnatural, like they know our every move. I'm starting to think the traitor's one of us, someone who knows our vox codes, our formations. The memory of Kravos, of Callan's blood on a traitor's hands, is a knife in my gut. I crush a hybrid's spine, my bolter thundering, each kill-a-vow to hunt the traitor. But the underhive's a tomb, and I'm not sure we'll make it out to settle the score. I'm Tyrus Vex, and the underhive of Hive Secundus is a crucible of blood and fire. The air thick with the stench of roasted xenos and melted ceramite. My squad's neck-deep in Genestealer hybrids, their claws and twisted faces coming at us from every shadow, every vent. My bolter's a relentless storm, each shot blasting hybrids into chunks, ichor drenching my armor like a grim tide. Sergeant Corvus is a whirlwind, his chains are tearing through xenos, spraying gore across the rusted decking. Brother Ryland's fading, his plasma pistol barely spitting, blood pooling from his ravaged shoulder, ceramite cracked wide. Brother Draken's bolter is holding, but he's battered, claw marks and lasburns scarring his armor. I'm holding the right, my fist smashing a hybrid's skull, the wet crunch a fleeting spark of satisfaction in this hell. That betrayal's a blade in my soul, sharper than the claws raking us. These hybrids are too damn sharp, hitting our weak spots like they've got our tactics mapped out. It's Kravos all over again. Brother Callan's death, sold out by a traitor, burns like a live wire. I vox Corvus, voice hoarse over the din. Sarge, they're playing us. Someone's leaking our plans. He snaps, Tyrus, kill now, think later. But there's a crack in his tone, like he's starting to feel the trap. A hybrid's last gutter sears my chest, ceramite bubbling, pain spiking through my Astartes frame. I blow its torso apart, gore splashing. But the thought of a traitor, maybe a hive noble, maybe one of ours, burns hotter than the wound. I crush another Xenos, my gauntlet dripping, swearing I'll rip the truth from someone. The underhive's a death maze, tunnels collapsing, pipes spewing acid that hisses on contact. My auspex is screaming, contacts swarming from all sides. Too fast, too many. I spot a hybrid in a duct and fire, shredding it before it drops. Ryland's down to one knee, his plasma pistol dead, while Dracon's bolter jams again, forcing him to swing it like a club, smashing a hybrid's jaw. Corvus voxes, forward no retreat. But the hybrid's attacks are surgical, like they've got our vox logs. I'm starting to believe the traitors in our ranks, someone who knows our signals, our moves. Kravos taught me betrayal cuts deepest from those you trust, and that lesson's screaming now. I slam a hybrid into a bulkhead, its bones snapping, and keep pushing. Bolter roaring. Each kill's a promise to find the traitor, but the underhive's a grave, and I'm not sure we'll crawl out to make good on it. I'm Tyrus Vex, and the underhive of Hive Secundus is a charnel house. The air thick with the reek of burnt Xenos and sizzling ceramite. My squad's fighting through a tide of Genestealer hybrids, their claws flashing in the flickering lumens, some still human enough to wear shredded rags, others warped into snarling beasts. My bolter's a thunderclap, each shot ripping hybrids apart, their ichor soaking my armor like a grim shroud. Sergeant Corvus is a force of destruction, his chainsword cleaving Xenos in half, gore painting the rusted walls. Brother Ryland's down, his plasma pistol dead, blood gushing from his torn shoulder as he slumps against a pipe. Brother Draken's bolter is barely holding, his armor a patchwork of claw marks and burns, but he keeps firing, snarling defiance. I'm on the right, my fist pulping a hybrid's chest, the crunch of bone a brief spark in this hellstorm. That betrayal's a fire in my gut, hotter than the lasburn scarring my armor. These hybrids are too precise, hitting us like they've got our battle plans carved into their flesh. It's Kravos all over again. Brother Kalen's death, betrayed by a PDF traitor, is a wound that won't close. I vox Corvus, shouting through the chaos. Sarge, this is a setup. They're reading our moves. He growls, Tyrus, keep killing. But his voice cracks, like he's starting to see the trap. A hybrid's mining laser lances my leg, ceramite shattering, pain flooding my Astartes nerves. I blast its head off, ichor spraying. But the thought of a traitor, maybe a hive official, maybe one of us, burns fiercer than the wound. I crush another Xenos, my gauntlet slick, swearing I'll find whoever's behind this. The underhive's a collapsing nightmare, tunnels tightening, pipes spewing toxic mist that hisses on contact. My auspex is a mess, contacts flooding from every angle, vents, floors, ceilings. I catch a shadow above and fire, dropping a hybrid in a burst of gore. Ryland's out, his body still, while Dracon's bolter jams again, forcing him to use his knife, gutting a hybrid with a roar. Corvus voxes, pushed to the core, but the hybrid's precision is uncanny, like they've got our vox codes. I'm convinced the traitor's one of ours, someone who knows our tactics, our signals. Kravos taught me betrayal comes from those closest, and that truth's screaming now. I slam a hybrid into a bulkhead, its spine snapping, and keep moving. Bolter blazing. Each kill's a vow to hunt the traitor, but the Underhive's a tomb, and I'm not sure we'll make it out to settle the score. I'm Tyrus Vex, or what's left of me, entombed in a dreadnought's adamantium shell. No longer the grunt I was in Hive Secundus's Underhive. The air's gone, replaced by the warm, suffocating amniotic fluid cocooning my broken body. Neural spikes jab my mind, linking me to a machine spirit that feels like a caged beast, its hunger bleeding into my thoughts. My squad's gone, Ryland's dead, Draken's wounded, and Corvus led us to the cult's heart. A chamber of twisted metal and glowing Xenos glyphs. My multi-melt ablazed, vaporizing hybrids, while my power fist crushed a pure-strain Genestealer, its ichor splashing my chassis. But the Patriarch, a monstrous horror, lunged, its psychic scream a hammer to my skull. I landed the killing blow, my fist smashing its head. But the machine spirit took over, leaving me with blank spots. Hybrids turned to ash I don't recall burning. That betrayal still burns, worse than the neural spikes. The hybrid's ambush was too perfect, just like Kravos, where Brother Kellen died because of a traitor's lies. Someone fed the cult our plans, and I thought it was a Hive official. But as we fought, a Vox fragment hit me. A name, not from the Hive, but from our own ranks, Brother Drakon. The shock was a blade through my core. He'd been with us, fighting, bleeding, but his missile launcher misfired at key moments, his Vox calls too slow. Was he the leak? My mind's a mess, tangled with Kalen's rage and Ancient Varn's stoic resolve from some old campaign, eroding Tyrus Vex. I wanted to confront him, but the machine spirit surged, and I blacked out, waking to a chamber of ash and silence. Back at the Fortress Monastery, I'm Ancient Vex, a relic wired to a war machine. The Tech Marines peel back my chassis, revealing the amniotic tank where my ruined flesh floats, tubes and cables snaking into a husk. The cult's dead, the Patriarch's gone, but Draken's betrayal is a wound that won't heal. I catch his glance as they prep me for stasis. Guilt, not brotherhood in his eyes. He'd been feeding the cult, maybe coerced, maybe corrupted, but it was him. I want to roar, to demand justice, but my Vox is a mechanical drone. The long dream looms, where I'll be trapped with Callan's fury and Varn's duty, losing more of myself. A quake shakes the monastery, and for a moment, I'm back in the Underhive, my Melta blazing. Chaplain Vare's litanies can't calm me. As they seal my sarcophagus, I realize the true horror. Draken's betrayal wasn't to the Xenos. It was to hide his own infection. He's a hybrid, and I'm locked in stasis, unable to warn my brothers, doomed to dream while the enemy walks among us.